bigger, deeper, veinier.
Okay.
You're listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
File access granted.
Welcome, all you believers, skeptics, idealists, and all those questioning the world around them. I'm Ty.
And I'm Bailey.
And this is Cult Talk's Conspiracy. File number 016.
Yes.
We just wrapped up you talking about John Dillinger and the woman in red, and you kicking off that little mini series you're doing of Deceptively Dead.
Deceptively Dead, yes.
Good title. Good title.
I know.
You're doing all little mini series this year. It's all
I didn't plan on it, honestly. Like, we had a full, I think I had my first probably 4 months of the year down until I decided to do some of these miniseries, and then I got to go back to Ty and be like, hey, I got to change the lineup a little bit.
Yeah, because you did the your multiverse one leading into Deceptively Dead, and then after this we have our summer event.
Yes.
And then we have a little break. Then it's into Cultober, so it's a series heavy series within series here on Cult Talk Conspiracy. I need to work on me a mini series. I guess. Know.
But the listeners seem to be loving it though.
We're seeing some good numbers.
We are.
That episode you did the second episode you did of the year, the Dimensions one.
Dimensions.
Crazy.
There's a comment. I believe it's on Parallel Universes that warms my heart so much, and it says, "I've been looking for a podcast like this, and we are so happy to be here for you."
Oh yeah!
Oh my goodness!
Very happy about this. We're doing this. This is just a fun show. I really enjoy doing this. It's the podcast I always want to do, so we're finally getting to do it. And here we are. We're almost 20 episodes in.
Yes, you have a topic that I'm very interested in today.
Yeah, so this right here is actually, if you listen to my file 013, I did the Richard Shaver episode. And this episode is kind of like, it could be kind of like a companion piece to that, or at least you could listen to file 13 and then listen to file 16 or vice versa, because it's kind of like a shared mythology, but it's a lot different. I guess it shares some things conceptually, but it's not the same thing. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm talking about Lemurians again.
Yes.
And I talked about those in Richard Shaver because that was the race that he wrote about in the Shaver Mysteries, was these Lemurians, the Diros and the Tiros and all those. But it's shockingly enough, that's not a concept that, it's, I guess, not a name that he came up with, and we'll talk about the history of this concept. But it's been around for almost 2 centuries now.
Oh, really?
And, it's pretty wild. But this is interesting. I found this when I was writing Richard Shaver,
right? And
then I started researching more, and it just goes off in a whole different Richard Shaverless route. So it was a whole different thing.
And I thought it was nuts when you brought it up in Richard Shaver, the Tiros and the Diros, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Tiros and Diros.
Yeah, that's such a crazy concept to me, in general. And then to find out now that it's 2 centuries old, I have a lot of questions. I hope we have answers.
It's a wild history for this concept. And it all leads back, it spans the globe from the Indian Ocean all the way to Western United States. So it's pretty interesting. But I think we can go ahead and crack this open. We're going to unseal this file, and we're going to journey to the heart of Mount Shasta and look at the Lemurian legends. Lemurians. I think that's how you pronounce it.
We think.
I'm going on a limb here, and I'm just pronouncing it Lemurians. There's not. I mean, it sounds right.
I think it's okay.
The alliteration is there. Lemurians.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. Now, aside from Richard Shaver, I'm sure that the Lemurians is your Only second time ever hearing this.
Oh, yes.
This mysterious race.
Oh, yes. I did a very, very small Google search, which was a little bit unsuccessful, but I saw like a little bit of it, and I'm all ears, buddy. And like the fact that it goes back 2 centuries, like we got to touch on just for just a hot second, because like I was just talking about this not too long ago on how crazy it is that things like this and conspiracies and the Lemurians, like they can be, the information can go so far, especially when we didn't have like the technological advances we have now to make communication so easy today.
Exactly.
So it's like,
and you'll see the evolution of the Lemurian legend is pretty wild, from its humble beginnings to its to where it ends up. I mean, it's pretty wild.
oh, I'm
the
excited.
little roller coaster it takes, but yeah, so like I said, you might recall the Lemurians from Richard Shaver. He talked about the ancient race and these cave-dwelling masochists that he called the Diros, and the kind of hierarchy known as the Tiros. Upon his first correspondence with Amazing Stories, the first Shaver mystery, which is what was called the all the writings that Shaver was doing to Amazing Stories, and they were turning into these like short space opera type stories. The first one to be published was a 31,000 word novella, originally written by Shaver and reworked by Ray Palmer. Ray Palmer, the publisher of Amazing Stories. This told the story of the Diros abandoning their advanced civilization and retreating to the underground caverns to escape radiation from the sun. And it was titled, I Remember Lemuria. Lemuria was key to the mythology that Richard Shaver detailed in his stories, or lost historical accounts, depending on your opinion of Richard Shaver. They weren't stories to him. To him, they were these historical records that he was being given the access to report out there.
Yeah, it was fact to him.
To him, yes. But Lemuria did not originate with Shaver. Philip Lutley Sclater, I think that's his name. Philip Lutley Sclater.
Did a good job.
Three-name guy, yeah. He was born in 1829 in Hampshire, England, and was an English lawyer and zoologist.
Oh.
In 1864, Sclater introduced his theory of a mythological lost continent, Lemuria. So here we are in 1864. So at this point, we're 60 years back. And this guy, Sclater, has came up with the concept of Lemuria.
Okay.
But his is a lot less fantastical. His introduction of Lemuria was different. No Diros, no Tiros, no space rockets, no advanced ray weapons.
Interesting.
Sclater was searching for an explanation to the recent discovery of lemur fossils. Lemurs, Lemuria.
Oh, okay.
Lemurs. So they found lemur fossils in Madagascar and India, but not in Africa or the Middle East. So there was no record of them. To get to Madagascar from India, they'd have to cross Africa and the Middle East.
Yeah.
But there's no record of lemurs being in those two areas, but somehow they got between these two things. So Sclater, he hypothesized that there was once a continent located at the Indian Ocean that had at some point sank beneath it. Now, this is just an idea of how the lemurs would have made their way between Madagascar and India while not being present in Africa or the Middle East. So it'd basically be like a land bridge type situation, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
And it was this continent, this piece of land that was there and it sank, and that's what kind of cut that area off. However, in 1870, German zoologist Ernest Haeckel suggested that perhaps Lemuria was more than this. Perhaps it was the cradle of mankind. Now, just to rewind a second on the Sclater section we were just at.
Mhm.
So this whole concept Sclater had it's now been pretty easily disproven because at this time they didn't have a knowledge of tectonic plates
Yeah.
and the continental drift.
Mm-hmm.
That's how lemurs were present in these two areas, is because at some point there was continental drift and
Yeah.
they were cut off.
Right. Yeah. Because at one point, like they were, like all the continents were together. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Pangea.
yeah. Okay.
All Lemuria was for Sclater was just him grasping for an explanation. It was a concept he came up with. That's what it was. Just a concept he had, and that's all it was to him. It wasn't. He did not have any of the fantastical theories that would come from this. And Lemuria, like I said, it was just a name he came up with because lemurs.
Huh.
Lemurs, Lemuria. That's where that whole.
That's
thing
how
came
the
from.
lemurs traveled.
Yeah, that's the land bridge the lemurs took. So after Haeckel suggested that this continent was the birthplace of all mankind, is basically what he decided on.
Mm-hmm.
That would spur the concept of this lost continent into all these mythical, fantastical ideas. That was the catalyst for this occurring.
Okay.
A woman by the name Helena Blavatsky, or as she is often known as, Madame Blavatsky.
Oh.
She was a well-known Russian occultist and mystic who co-founded the religion, the Theosophical Society. This religious movement teaches of an ancient brotherhood called the Masters, who are attempting to revive an ancient world religion.
Okay.
Madame Blavatsky adopted Lemuria into this belief system. She claimed this was the continent that the Masters called home, and they were, from that point on, known as the Lemurians. So there we've gotten the origination of the idea of Lemuria and the introduction of the Lemurians, this master race.
Okay. So are the occultists calling themselves masters? Like, this is where my people came from? Or is it just the race of people that were on Lemuria that have been like lost to time that are the masters?
The masters were on Lemuria. They were
okay.
That was what they called home, was Lemuria.
Got you. Okay.
And there may or may not be surviving members of that race that are trying to revive their religion that they had on this continent. So, from a simple land bridge theory to the birthplace of humanity to home of an ancient race of superhumans, this supposed continent had a lot of theories around it. But what happened to the would-be thousands or hundreds or maybe millions of people that would have occupied it? I mean, that's the big question. If there's just this lost continent, where are the occupants? Where's the Lemurians? Where are they?
Yeah.
In 1886, although not published until 1905, so it was written in 1886, published 9 years later. I think it's right. 14 years. I'm bad at math.
What was the year? 1886 and what?
1886. And it was published in 1905.
Oh. That's 21 or 19 years. 19 years.
19 years. See, I'm bad at math. Terrible at math.
You almost had it. You were close.
I don't know. I said 9 at first, so I was a little off.
You were almost there. You had to go 10 more. It was okay. You had one of the numbers right.
I was on the spot. It was quick math, not good at quick math. If I wrote it down, added, carried to 1, it'd been fine. Metaphysicist Frederick Spencer Oliver, with help from Philos the Thebaetan.
The Thebaetan. Thebaetan.
So Frederick Spencer Oliver and his mysterious co-author Philos the Thebaetan wrote the novel A Dweller on Two Planets. The book claims to be a true account from Philos, who channeled the information to Frederick using visions and automatic writing over the course of 3 years. You familiar with the concept of automatic writing?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That is a very interesting topic where you can just like see visions or get feelings, or like sometimes you don't even like feel or like see anything per se. Your hand just starts doing it, and like totally different handwriting and
just goes
fucking
away.
Insane.
Starts just writing down all this information. You don't know where it's coming from.
Oh my God, it's insane.
It's in a different language or a different handwriting style or different verbiage. Just, it's an interesting concept.
Like it's sometimes there's been cases where they switch the pen from the right to the left in order to write like the other person. So I don't know. It's weird. It's super weird. I don't know what y'all are doing. It's super interesting. I wish I could do it, but maybe not. I don't know. That's a horror movie waiting to happen. This girl said she wished she could automatic write, and then this happened. So, sorry, my little tangent for the day.
Frederick, he experienced automatic writing. Philos, the Theban, channeled through him, and he wrote this novel, Dweller on Two Planets. Philos was the spirit of a descendant of the lost continent of Atlantis.
Oh man!
And recount, so that's the thing too that I noticed, and luckily here later it will get cleared up. But in my research of Lemuria, there's different things. There's different supposed advanced civilizations that do kind of seep into it. The Atlantis one, famously, and then also a continent which I didn't go too deep into called Mu. M-U.
Oh. Okay.
Which I thought maybe that's like, Lemurians, MU might be like maybe it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So Philos, he was a descendant of the lost continent of Atlantis, and he recounts a first-person's perspective detailing the culture and technological advancements of the civilization.
Oh,
so basically, it's like a day-to-day account of what life was like in Atlantis. Is how this was. The spirit told of a temple, a remaining artifact of the continent of Atlantis that was located inside Mount Shasta. This concept was made famous by claims of a lost civilization occupying Mount Shasta. So there has actually been like a lot of, and we'll talk about it here. There's actually like the idea of these like godlike beings or these advanced beings occupying Mount Shasta. Is shockingly enough, like this isn't the first time you'll hear about it. We'll talk about it later. There's older accounts of this being a possibility, even before the Dweller on Two Planets.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to go to California. We got to go now. We got to go.
The Lemurian Fellowship. The Lemurian Fellowship. Jeez, I'm having trouble with that one. Lemurian Fellowship. There we go. We got it.
You got it.
It's not a J.R. Tolkien book or anything from that. It is actually a school of religious philosophy.
Oh.
They teach instructions on following the Lemurian philosophy over a course of 12 basic lessons before students can gain acceptance into the advanced training of the Lemurian order. This is still, actually, shockingly enough, a very active school today. It's still functioning. It still runs. They have an administration building located near San Diego, California. They are very much still a thing. People go there, they pay tuition, and they learn how to be more Lemurian, I guess.
So what makes you a Lemurian?
It's just a higher form of thinking, I think. It's just, how to be a more advanced human. All these, I haven't been accepted in advanced training. I don't know what all goes into it.
Is this Scientology?
It sounds a lot like that. It's definitely one of those like Silicon Valley religions.
Like, is this another form of Scientology? Because I mean, listen, I don't know yet what all entails, but the application process sounds the same, I must say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It definitely does sound long. That's what I was thinking the whole time I was reading about the fellowship, the Lemurian Fellowship, is it did sound a little Scientology-y. So, but I digress. I don't know the details of it. But in 1940, the Lemurian Fellowship published a sequel to The Dweller on Two Planets, entitled An Earth Dweller Returns. Now, this further elaborated on the connection between Lemuria and Mount Shasta. This kind of would become, from what I understood, these books are kind of like religious text to the Lemurian Fellowship, or at least key teachings there. I don't know if they would be like biblical text to them, but they do utilize them for teaching aspect and lessons, things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now this idea, it's wild to think this idea. All it was to this point, just this guy, this zoologist trying to figure out where lemurs came from.
Yeah. Oh my
And
gosh.
now we have it as a lost continent with advanced civilization of master humans, and there's a religion that's developed around it. There's people writing these long form texts and accounts of life on this continent. It's wild.
Oh my gosh. There's a higher form of thinking now involved and whatnot. Like, I mean, it's a whole ass thing. Holy crap.
Yeah, it really is.
Atlantis got involved.
All this guy's just trying to get an explanation for lemur fossils.
Oh my gosh.
It's wild when you think of that. That's the origin.
You know what? It kind of feels like a game of telephone. Like
that's what I was thinking too.
Like in the most like sort of broken down way.
Like we discussed back in Men in Black.
Yes, exactly.
Just that's a pretty wild game of telephone.
Yeah, that's wow. Okay, alrighty.
So obviously, we talked a little about Lemurians. The second part of this whole puzzle is Mount Shasta. For those you don't know, Mount Shasta is a Cascade mountain range located in Northern California. The second largest peak in the Cascade Range. The oldest recorded settlement of humans that we know of dates back to the 7,000.
Wow.
Year 7,000.
Wow.
Or at least 7,000. Yeah, dates back 7,000 years. My apologies. Dates back 7,000 years. So I would put it at, I'm bad at math.
That one I need a calculator for. Those are big numbers.
23 minus 7.
14, I think.
I'll take your word for it. I'm going to stop doing numbers. I'm embarrassing myself on this show. It's only 2000. What do we think? Yeah, it's a long time ago.
It's a very long time ago.
Long time ago.
I know why that's wrong, because I put...
I know why it's wrong, too. I did the entire... I totally botched the year. It's not 20... it's 2023.
So did it go back to...
It's like negative number. It's like back. It's like BC.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
Because it's 4,977.
It'd be 5,000 BC.
Yeah. I'll take that word for it. There we go. That's what the calculator says anyway.
5,000 BC.
Yeah.
Terrible at math. I'll say it again. I'm going to stop using numbers. I'm ruining my credibility on this conspiracy podcast.
If I have to lose my credibility because of the movies I haven't seen, you can lose it because of numbers. It's okay.
I guess. Yeah. It's fair trade. Now, one of the most prominent groups of people to occupy the area is the Klamath, a Native American nation formed by 3 different tribes. Among the legends from these people is one of a spirit from the above world named Skell.
Oh.
Skell descended to the summit of the mountain from heaven, or the above world, and he was summoned by the chief of the Klamath tribe.
Mm-hmm.
This entity was called to combat a spirit from the below world that it resided in the neighboring Cascade Mountains. And the 2 entities battled by throwing molten rocks and lava at each other. So the 2 mountains. So basically, there was an eruption.
Yeah.
What the theory is. There was an eruption. and that's where the legend of Skell and this this anti-Skell came from. But in early 1900s, another legend would become synonymous with the mountain. A worldwide organization founded in the United States called Ancient and Mystical Order of the Rosy Cross, or the AMORC. This was like a mystical religious order.
Okay.
They're founded in the United States. From what I understand, there's sects of it in Europe, but it's prominently was prominently in the United States, and it was just this mystical religious order.
That's very I need to know more about that in particular.
I thought about going a little deeper into it, but I was like, I want to focus on the Shasta thing.
That's all right. That's later on.
Yeah, I guess maybe I should have went a little deeper on that. But
No. That's fine. That's me hearing something and going, right?
The AMORC published a book by founder and commander of the AMORC, Harvey Spencer Lewis. This book, titled Lemuria, a lost continent of the Pacific. This book is cited as being responsible for a majority of the legends surrounding Lemurians on Mount Shasta.
Okay.
This book tells of a city resting beneath the mountain called Telos, which was called the City of Lights by the Lemurians, despite a majority of the population being swept away by a great flood in the Pacific Ocean. So his idea was that these Lemurians, they founded a city of light in Mount Shasta, but a great flood came and swept everyone away. Swept all the people away. They were all drowned or, swept throughout the world, but they left the city. The city of gold was left.
And this was under Mount Shasta.
Under Mount Shasta.
Very interesting. Ooh, now I'm curious about a hollow earth.
Yeah,
that's exactly what my mind went to.
I mean, yeah, even the hollow earth theory plays very much into the Lemurian legends. All the way back, we talk about Richard Shaver. He talks about the endless elevators and the center of the earth being where these things occupied, hid from the radiation from the sun. They would kidnap people and bring them down. So hollow earth and the Lemurian legend kind of go hand in hand, I would say. In 1904, a British prospector named J.C. Brown was exploring Mount Shasta, and he claimed that he found a cavern on the mountain. He entered the cavern and ventured 11 miles deep underground. There he discovered a hidden city full of gold.
Oh my.
Entire city. 11 miles down. That's a long way down.
Yeah. Oh, I think about the pressure like you feel. Like it's kind of, I wonder, you probably wouldn't feel it on Earth because like you don't feel it underwater. Like as you go deeper and deeper, like the pressures. I wonder if that's the same. I don't know.
I never went caving, so I don't know.
I refuse to go caving. I don't like caves. I think they're beautiful. They're fascinating. Yeah, I'm not going in one unless I'm dead because that's the only way you're getting me there. So, no, if the danger is outside of the cave and the cave is the only safe place, just know I made my peace with my decision. I'm not going in there. But yeah, I do wonder if you get deeper, if you start to feel pressure or if the air is more pressure. I don't know. I kind of pulled that out of my ass, but the same thing happens with water.
Yeah.
So I do wonder about that because that's a long way to go. 11 miles
for this
deep.
guy just to find a cave and decide, hey, I'm going to check this out. And I don't know how he found it. I don't know how he knew he was 11 miles underground, but he claimed it was 11 miles that he was under there. And that's where he found this city. Now, the city appeared to have been abandoned. The only inhabitants among the entire city of these ancient structures and monuments there were mummies,
Oh,
just these mummified corpses. And he claimed that they were 10 feet tall, each of them. And they were all throughout the city. They were just the remains of what once was in the city. These giant 10-foot tall mummies.
Did they have 6 fingers?
I don't know. He didn't describe the fingers.
Oh,
Maybe.
man. If they had 6 fingers, I'll shit a brick.
It's 10 feet tall and 6 fingers.
Yeah.
That's what.
Because the giants had 6 fingers instead of 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And I mean, if they're mummified, I guess like if they're mummified and still have hair, if they have red hair, that counts too. But yeah, there's like that's 2 of the biggest things is red hair, 6 fingers. And there's one other one that I can't recall right now.
Never looked too much into the giants, but yeah.
Well, we might.
Interesting.
We might look more into it. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Upon returning to the surface, Brown told others, and he gathered a team of 80 adventurers to once again venture into Mount Shasta and bring back proof of his discovery. Now, interestingly enough, the exact location of the cavern was never disclosed by J.C. Brown.
Huh.
And the location would never be, as the day that the team was supposed to set out to embark on their journey, the day J.C. Brown went missing. No letter or message was left behind. He just vanished, and no one would ever see or hear from the British prospector J.C. Brown ever again.
What year did that happen in?
1904.
Okay, so
year.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh
He was just
man,
gone.
he was gonzo. Oh, that's suspicious.
Yep. So the day he was supposed to lead these 80 people to the cave and start their venture down to Mount Shasta to the Lemurian city or the city of gold, he just up and vanished.
Oh man,
Not a trace.
I
Pretty
mean,
wild.
that's crazy because that leads all kinds of. I mean, of course, leads all kinds of questions. But so my mind instantly went to 2 different scenarios. First one was he went there by himself in the middle of the night, like something made him go back there and was like, "There you go." Or, I mean, because there's got to be other people that were searching for this as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the City of Gold at least.
City of Gold. Yeah.
So someone might have just been like, "Hey, show us where the City of Gold is," and we're not so nice about it. So that's instantly where my mind went. Does it mean anything? Probably not, but
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe the Lemurians got it. Maybe they aren't gone. They didn't want anyone discovering their city, so they got him.
What are they called in the Mummy? The Magi. He's a Magi. They got got by the Magi.
Could be an ancient one of these religions built around it. Maybe got him so he wouldn't tell of their promised land.
I mean, if it's 11,
steal religious artifacts.
I mean, 11 miles deep. Ooh, that means if there wasn't already, I doubt there was. You would have to build or like dig 11 miles deep into it if it wasn't already there.
Apparently there was the cavern. Apparently just a cavern there. So.
Oh my gosh, that's
it was there.
That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah, I always hope for the best, but I don't know if Mr. Brown got it.
No,
I really don't.
I don't think there's a good ending for J.C. Brown. Now, in the early 1930s, a man by the name of Guy Ballard, I think it's G-U-Y, so it could be Guy, but I always thought it was Guy when it's a man's name. But maybe it's Guy Ballard.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him Guy Ballard.
I like Guy better than I like it. I don't know. Watch us call him Guy, and then it come out that you were right all along, and it was.
I always thought it was Guy, but I could be wrong. But I'll call him Guy Ballard, or Guy Ballard. Sorry, Guy Ballard had an encounter with a being atop Mount Shasta while he was exploring. So he was on a little exploration of Mount Shasta. He got to the top, and there he found this being who called himself Saint Germain. Now, Saint Germain was said to be an ascendant
Mhm.
master
Mhm.
of the Great White Brotherhood.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's any racial things there. I don't know. I don't know if it had any racial purification thing behind it, but it was called the Great White Brotherhood. So I don't know what details went in them, but it's a sus name.
I
don't know much about it.
the thing about that one is going to be the fact that I will be real blunt here. The problem would be with history, not in the wording.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's 1930s. I mean, there's a lot of Great White Brotherhoods roaming around the South. I'm sure. So.
The problem is with history, not with what it was known as.
So, nonetheless, Saint Germain was an ascendant master of the Great White Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the same order that Madame Blavatsky spoke of in the 19th century in her Theosophical Society. Guy Ballard, he would take this experience and using the biblical verse, Exodus 3:14, in which God replied to Moses, "I am who I am." Ballard and his wife, Edna, founded the I Am movement. It is believed that the being Ballard encountered was in fact a surviving member of the Lemurians.
Huh.
Now, these beings, supposedly, the being that he encountered, wanted to guide the fate of humanity through a human messenger. And Guy Ballard was this messenger.
Okay.
He claimed that after meeting Saint Germain, he received over 3,000 messages, which he called discourses.
Okay.
These were used to create the core teachings of the I Am movement. The discourses from the masters taught of how to be aware of the I Am, which was the presence of God that flowed directly from him at the center of the universe. So God was this being at the center of the universe, and he would output his presence, which he called I Am. And this taught how to pick up on that, how to pick up on signs and messages from God, how to interpret them. That was the main teachings of the I Am movement. It was a Christian organization as well, as it was considered to be. Now, this movement was surprisingly popular and gained a pretty moderate following throughout the 1930s. And it was in large part because it had a very patriotic, pro-American stance. And it implied that America had a special place in the master plan that Saint Germain and the Lemurians had for the future of the world. America was a big part of that. The group was so patriotic that the followers believed that Guy Ballard was actually the reincarnation of President George Washington.
Oh, wow.
That's how patriotic he was.
Wow.
It had to have been George Washington embodying this man. So Guy Ballard was getting messages from Lemurians about God, and also he was reincarnated from George Washington.
So does that mean George Washington got messages from Lemurian?
Yeah,
from Saint Germain?
Could be.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay. So the movement was created in America by Americans, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
And America was a big part of it, and America was going to save the world according to the master race of the Great White Brotherhood.
I mean, we are great people. A lot of other people are great people too. We're all right.
Yeah. But America's going to do it.
We're
and this lost race of master this technologically advanced civilization were going to utilize us to save the world.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, unfortunately, Guy would pass away pretty early, unexpectedly,
Oh.
in 1939, and he would leave his wife Edna to continue the teachings. However, soon after Guy's passing, Edna would find herself indicted and convicted for mail fraud because all the followers that they had, paying them, decided, like, wait a second, this is a sham, and they took her to federal court. And she was convicted, although it was later overturned by the Supreme Court. It still negatively affected the whole movement. And it kind of floundered a little bit until Edna passed away in the 70s.
Did Edna I'm sorry, did Edna have a big part in it? Or was it just
she was a co-founder.
Oh, okay.
So I'm assuming after Guy passed away, they were like, whatever she was doing, the rest of the followers like, this is bullshit. And they a bunch of the followers, took her to court and got her for mail fraud for running a sham religious organization. So Edna passed away in the 70s, and after she passed away, the movement pretty much died because outside of the Ballards, no one else was enlightened enough to receive discourses from the master race of the Great White Brotherhood.
Oh no!
So they couldn't get any more teachings. The religion died. It did inspire some other religions that came out around this time. Kind of a lot of the religions took from it and went off in their own direction. So we talked about the religions, all this stuff. One of my main things when I was reading about this, one of the main questions I had was, aside from all the pseudo religious followings and all this other stuff that came from Lemuria and all the theories of these Lemurians settling in Mount Shasta, I was wondering, like, why this civilization, which by most accounts originated in the Indian Ocean, why they settled in Western United States. It's a pretty big trek. It's a pretty long ways away. It's not like a hop and a skip. I mean, it's halfway across the globe.
I mean, yeah. Actually, good point.
Yeah, that was the main thing. I was like, that was the main plot hole I kept finding. But I visited a website. The website was called LemurianConnection.com. It's an all right website. I'll leave it there. I wouldn't give them my email address. But it's an all right. It's a decent enough website, I guess. They gave an explanation, which also cleared up some of the confusion I was seeing regarding the distinction between Atlantis and Lemuria. Because like I was saying, I kept finding stuff about Lemuria. It'd be like, oh, this is an article about Lemuria, and you would go and it'd be all about Atlanteans. And I was like, what is the distinction between Lemurians and Atlanteans?
Right.
So the website, LemurianConnection.com, there's another plug for them. They explain that both Atlantis and Lemuria coexisted as two highly advanced civilizations.
Oh.
So Lemuria and Atlantis, they coexisted. They were both these just the superpowers of the ancient world, I guess. But they didn't see eye to eye on a couple things. And one of the main things they didn't see eye to eye on was the development of other advanced civilizations, how they should be treated.
Oh. The
Atlanteans believed that other less advanced civilizations should be controlled by either Atlantis or Lemuria. That they should kind of guide them in their advancement. But the Lemurians, they believe that these cultures should be left alone and they should continue to evolve at their own pace.
Okay.
Let them be, see where they go, see what happens. But the Atlanteans, they wanted to kind of shape and mold these other civilizations. This disagreement became so contentious that the two civilizations went to war.
Yep.
So there's big disagreement. And the two biggest dogs in the yard.
Yep.
Butted heads. We've seen it multiple times.
Oh yes.
In our lifetime. So these two civilizations, though, were highly advanced on another level than we can think of conceptually, and they utilized weapons capable of massive destruction.
Oh no!
Including the use of thermonuclear bombs.
Oh,
Yeah, the big boys.
the big boys. Thermo's
Yeah.
not a word you hear all that often in front of nuclear.
No.
Like, oh God.
No, I imagine when those two words together, it's not good.
So were they like? Because I'm actually not too familiar with that. Is it? I'm going to ask the stupid question and ask if it's temperature controlled, but I don't think that has to do with thermo. I would imagine it's just like a really powerful nuclear
Well,
weapon.
your dad's a nuclear engineer.
I'll have to ask him, and we'll have to talk about this because now I have all kinds of questions.
I mean, I'd imagine, just if see if I can do a quick search here on what thermonuclear is, because I imagine it's pretty bad. What is?
I feel like that's destroying. I mean, I feel like it's destroying a continent bad.
So let's see. It's the greater sophisticated. Let's see. Vastly greater destructive power, more compact size.
Ooh, yeah.
So it's a smaller, more powerful bomb.
Oh wow.
Sounds pretty devastating.
Yeah, bad.
Now, at the end of the war, there was no winners. Both continents had been weakened to the point they were being reclaimed by the sea.
Oh.
Now, the Lemurians, they fled and they settled atop Mount Shasta.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they built a city capable of supporting 200,000 Lemurians.
Oh, wow.
And maybe they reside there to this day. These beings are said to use crystals within the mountain to communicate with people on the surface. These communications are seen by some as a way to teach and enlighten, possibly in an attempt to keep humanity from following in their footsteps of destruction. Now, this whole aspect of communicating, because we see that, we saw that back Richard Shaver. And he talked about that, he had the welding gun that he was getting visions from. They talk about it earlier in our this file right here, where we talk about the Guy Ballard. He was getting messages.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier with the gentleman who wrote The Dweller on Two Planets, Frederick Spencer Oliver. He was getting automatic writing. So this concept is there and pretty consistent in Lemurian legend. These things are underground. These people, these beings are underground, and by some means are talking to us here on the surface, manipulating our thoughts or trying to shape our destinies.
Very interesting.
Now, to this day, there are still believers of the lessons that have been imparted by these beings. You can find many blog posts, entire websites, and there's still little religions based around the teachings of the Lemurians as they've been, provided through different means. Dweller Between Two Planets, Guy Ballard and his teachings, all this stuff. There's still these little sects that kind of hold those teachings to their day-to-day life.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild that this is still a pretty prominent thing. There's still people out there that believe this stuff to be true and utilize the teachings.
Yeah, I like that because we talked about this in Richard Shaver, and I found it very interesting then that he would find communications on rocks.
Yeah,
and
rock
he would
books.
Rock books, and
rock
he would
books, yeah.
write rock books.
Rock books, yeah.
Rock books. Okay, I was like, did I hear that correctly? So, and it's very interesting that in both those stories, there are aspects of the earth being used in order to communicate.
Yes. Crystals, rocks.
Very interesting. And that's, again, become very recent within our history that we've kind of started to, I'll say, go back to looking at more of sort of the... what's the word I want to use here? The first word that popped into my mind was artwork, but I guess the aspects that
artifacts,
that the earth can provide us, and we can see into that. So that's very interesting. Secondly, so it's kind of like because we see in like old sci-fi movies all the time how like, aliens who are like way smarter than us can like telecommunicate and like can get inside our heads and the automatic writing and whatnot. So maybe like that higher sense of enlightenment is actually like a higher form of knowledge. That's what I'm thinking right here is like, are they accessing, like, are they so advanced that they can access different parts of the brain like that? Or
very possible.
I don't know.
Who knows what the capabilities these crystals are they're using? You never know.
I've got crystals in my basement. I need to go take a look at those.
Yeah, I don't know about those crystals. I don't know.
Not those ones.
Now, Mount Shasta has become sort of a mecca for believers of spiritualism and those who believe in some sort of higher energy, because people do say that there is this presence about Mount Shasta.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of people that go there because apparently there is something different about this mountain than other mountains. Sightings of Lemurians are more rare today, which they've always been kind of rare. It was never like a common thing. It wasn't like Bigfoot where people were just, I saw a Lemurian, but it's enough has happened where it's become synonymous with the mountain. They're described as 7 to 10 foot tall humanoids with white skin, long blonde hair, and usually wearing some sort of colorful or metallic robe-like dress. And people have seen them. Hikers. I listened to a podcast where a guy just in the last couple of years, he claimed to have seen these things while hiking.
Shit.
Now, many people, believers and non-believers, do acknowledge that there is something different about Mount Shasta. Many people say that, they visit Mount Shasta, and when you're driving up Mount Shasta, you get this weird, fuzzy feeling in your whole body that is unlike any other place in the world. And it overcomes your entire body as you're driving up the mountain.
Interesting.
So, from an explanation for lemur fossils to fantastic advanced civilizations, lost to history, to the cradle of humanity, to these pseudo-religious influences, it's just no wonder why the legend of Lemuria has endured over the years.
Yeah.
Through all these different facets. And that right there, that was our journey to the heart of Mount Shasta, the Lemurian legend.
Wow. There's
Legends.
a lot. Legends. Yeah, there's multiples. There's a lot there. Wow. Oh, man. So, very interesting that people get a particular feeling when they're around Mount Shasta, because I immediately started thinking about fairy mounds.
Okay.
We've touched on it a little bit. So like fairy mounds or like fairy lands or fairy trees, it's a welcome spot for fairies. And fairies can be really pesky from time to time. They can either be really, really nice to you or they can be really, really pesky. But either way, you don't want to piss them off. Think about a pissed off Tinkerbell that can fuck your karma up. That's what that is. And like people like people will get like particular feelings when they're like around a fairy mound or, like it'll kind of like, it's a weird, it's weird to explain. Cause it can be different every time that you go, but it's like all the people that are around that fairy mound or that fairy tree, like it's known, like you can read the room that way. So it's very interesting that Mount Shasta does that as well. I'm sure there are like, the suicide forest as well.
Yes.
I can't think of its name, but those omit feelings as well. So that's very, very interesting, especially because we're talking about a people here and not about a spirit. So are there burial grounds there, or is it something about having the Lemurian people?
Probably Indian burial ground stuff there, but yeah, it is wild because even just in research, I'd find like people referencing Mount Shasta, they do talk about it just being totally different than any other place in the world.
Interesting.
Like, there's a different aura about it. There's a different vibe. And there's just all in all, just something different about Mount Shasta.
Gypsy agrees. We have recorded 2 podcasts today, and she has done this in both of them.
So Mount Shasta, I mean, it definitely seems, and there's all kinds of stuff. Mount Shasta, you look it up. There's UFO sightings. There's Bigfoot sightings. There's missing people. There's strange lights, unexplained, just all kinds of high strangeness. Just a lot of different stuff. Mount Shasta seems to be a hotbed for just high strangeness in general.
You know what I think?
Ghosts.
Oh, there's ghosts there. Can I
Yeah,
make you
all nice
believe in
stuff.
ghosts if it's from Mount Shasta?
I don't think so.
Oh,
They're a little too
okay.
boring, right?
Okay, they're too boring.
Yeah.
I think I feel another mini series of Mount Shasta coming
There's,
on. I feel it.
Ghost want my attention. They got spiced up a little bit. Meat on the bone for me.
How would you spice up a ghost?
I
Like,
don't know. Be more interesting. Try a little harder.
just try harder. Just
Yeah, I'm challenging them at this point.
be spooky. Like, one of us is gonna get a call. Like, Shy keeps barking at the door for no reason. Yep, you fuck some shit up, Ty. That's why this is the find out part. Like, anyway, that is. Oh my god, and it all stemmed from where did lemurs come from? Like,
That's
I
it.
just looked
Some
down at
guy.
that note, and it's just, oh my god, it's so crazy. It is absolutely crazy because you're right. There are patterns between Richard Shaver, Guy Brown, like all of them. Like there is a pattern there.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's
You
a lot of
actually left me
correlations between
speechless.
all the legends of Lemuria. There are little like correlations, tidbits, but it could just be people cherry picking. Like,
Mhm.
I like this, I like that, I like this. Here's my legend.
Mhm.
Here's this. The next person picks it up. Oh, I want to do this and this. I mean, it could be.
This one kind of feels like, to me anyway, that it would be pretty quickly disproven. Like it has that vibe about it.
Could be. Yeah. We just gotta go to the center of Mount Shasta, see what's in there.
I'm down. I mean, I'll wait outside. Like I'll hike up the mountain. Y'all can go inside. But you know what else is weird? That I forget where it is now, but there was this tunnel system that was underground, that was found somewhere on the earth. I'm gonna have to look at. I know I should have done my research. Thank you. I didn't realize I would be talking about it, Gypsy. So there was this tunnel system that was found that was underground, and like it stretched for miles, and like there were living quarters in there. There were spaces built to where you could have cattle there. Like it
Wow.
was it really looked like it was like a what do they call that? It's not a bomb shelter. It's a like a bug out room, like a
Okay.
like a massive one of those where like you could keep like an entire community down there. I'm
Oh,
going
wow.
to have to look up the name and where it was found
for real.
at.
You have to check it out.
I feel
That's interesting.
I feel like it was somewhere Middle Eastern. I really do. Because I remember the setting being very deserty. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'll get back to you guys on that one. I promise. There will be a comment below. So, but that's crazy. That's crazy. That's what that reminded me of.
It's just a wild thing. Just these Lemurians. I mean, they keep popping up different places. People really resonate with them.
Mhm.
And like I said, they play into Atlantis. Apparently, they were a rival to Atlantis or
Mhm.
had some hand in the destruction of Atlantis. And that's something we'll have to explore here soon, maybe.
Mhm. Maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But that
I
was
loved
it. That's the Legend of Lemuria. I mean, it's a great episode, I think, to listen to along with File 013.
Yes. Mhm. Oh, absolutely.
Back to back. I think that'd be a good little
Oh, yes.
Lemurian binge.
Absolutely. Because that Richard Shaver takes you on a bend that you're not quite sure where you're going, and so does this one. So very beautifully done. You left me really speechless on that one. Like that's beautiful. Wow, that's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Very proud.
Yeah, so
that was wonderful.
I want to hear what everyone thinks about the Lemurians. And like you said, you can look up online. There's a number of different little like small little religions that have
Mhm.
cropped up around this concept and the teachings that you find throughout these different encounters, if you want to call them that, with the Lemurians, where people have gotten messages and whatnot from them, and people really apply those.
Yeah, that's that's so interesting.
Yeah,
I need to know
But,
more. Let us know if you've
by
had a
all
vision.
means. Yeah, if you've been in contact with the Lemurians, has anyone here been? Has anyone been to Mount Shasta? Do you have like a weird
Yes.
Mount Shasta story? Because it sounds like it's just a really ominous place to be. So I'd be very interested to hear if anyone has any accounts of high strangeness on Mount Shasta. I love that term, high strangeness.
High strangeness.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I've
love
experienced
that
some high.
classification.
I've experienced some high strangeness, but I don't think it's in the.
You could
in the same
You can go
context.
listen to Our Encounters, the New Year's special, and hear about our high strangeness.
Yes.
But
And
yeah,
where could
by
they
all
tell
means,
us?
Let me know.
Where could they tell us about all of this other than commenting
At
down
Cult
below?
Talk Net across the board, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Pretty much, you go anywhere and you type in at Cult Talk Net, you're going to find us there.
Oh,
Reddit,
yeah.
trying to get more active on Reddit. Maybe we're already on active on Reddit. I don't know. But we're trying to be more active on Reddit. But yeah, that by all means, check us out. And hey, this is some good stuff to listen to on 420 coming up.
Yes.
If you are a 420 enthusiast,
Just a
you can
little
listen
bit.
to this stuff. Me, not so much, but I guess I don't get to have the fun. I'll let you have the fun.
That's all right. Designated drivers are still fun.
Yep.
You got to do a munchie run. Like
I get my high off of here, and this week we get to go see Bruce Campbell this week.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I get high off of. I get high
Yes.
off of basking in Bruce Campbell's presence. That's my buzz that I get there.
There's no better one than that.
No, I'm gonna go. We're going here in our hometown of Columbus.
Mhm.
The whole Cult Talk Net crew going to be there.
Yeah.
Myself and Evan got front row seats. Going to meet the man after the show.
Yes.
I'm ready to just go sit down, kick back, crack a beer.
Yes.
Big slice of Mikey's late night sliced pizza.
Ooh, yummy.
And watch. That's my favorite pizza. And they
I
have
haven't
one there
had
at the. I have way too much Mikey's late night sliced pizza. Best pizza in the city.
Oh,
Best
I can't wait
pie
to try
in the
it.
city, I say. But you can get some of that. Just kick back and watch Bruce do his thing. I'm so excited for that. And Evan gets to meet Bruce for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Bruce being co-stars for Bruce Fest. We'll get a reunite and catch up.
He has a really good memory. I would honestly be a little bit surprised if he didn't at least recognize you from Bruce. I think he will. I think
he'll recognize the mustache at least.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
the stash is here to stay.
Stash is strong, baby.
Stash is strong.
He'll recognize that. But yeah, you'll hear all about it next week. So I'm sure we're going to drop a call to Campbell.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Evil Dead Rises comes up this weekend. So
oh my gosh,
lot of this is going to be a busy weekend for the Cult Talk Net crew and our Bruce capades.
Our Bruce capades.
Yeah,
I liked it. Like busy Brucing. Is that a thing? Can we do that?
Busy Brucing.
Busy Brucing.
That's interesting. We're busy. I'll set my phone to that this weekend. I can't talk. I'm busy Brucing this weekend.
Brucing.
Yeah. But there you have it, guys. That was our journey to the heart of Mount Shasta. I think Bruce lives up that way. So, journey to the heart of Mount Shasta. We talked all about the Lemurian legends and how a simple theory on lemur fossils turned into a religious phenomena. And these highly advanced beings living right underneath our feet. It's pretty interesting stuff. Pretty wild. I suggest you guys check it out. The book Lemuria, The Lost Continent in the Pacific. That's a pretty big one.
Yes.
That I think dives a lot into the Lemurian legend of Mount Shasta. But yeah, let us know what you guys think of this. Leave us a comment here. You can't leave us a comment here on the podcast. We'll leave us a comment on youtube.com/culttalknet.
Yes.
We're always active on there, always responding. Go to Facebook at Cult Talk Net, Instagram at Cult Talk Net, Twitter at Cult Talk Net, and just say hi. Tell us how good we did. Tell us if we didn't go deep enough. I take constructive criticism very well.
Yes.
And that just to me opens up the possibility for maybe a sequel, maybe a little bit more, maybe a redux. You never know.
Yep. Thank you. I get to be uncomfortable all over again. Not really, though. I listened back to that episode and I was like, oh,
yeah.
No, but that was a fun one.
About the porn conspiracy. We
yes.
got a comment from one of our listeners, a good guy. He let me know that, hey, you didn't go deep enough. Well, when it comes to porn, I can always go a little deeper.
A little deeper. That'll be
that'd be what we'll call the sequel, the next episode.
I love it. Oh no. Oh yes, I love it. That's gonna be one that's gonna be interesting.
Bigger, deeper, veinier.
Okay. We gotta go now.
Thank you for joining us here at Cult Talk Conspiracy. Next episode here in a couple weeks. What are you doing, Bailey?
I am doing Billy the Kid here in a couple of weeks.
Continuing your little mini series.
Yes, we are going to dive into another deceptively dead fellow and talk about Mr. Billy the Kid. I'm really interested for this one because
I'm excited too. I know a little about Billy the Kid,
Mhm.
mainly from Young Guns,
Yeah.
and Young Guns 2, but that's about where my knowledge of Billy the Kid goes off.
yeah.
But that's where my knowledge of what happened to Billy Kid comes from. But
So-
I'm excited to hear more and hear about this conspiracy around his death.
Yes, it's interesting. The line still lives on, and they have a tale to tell.
Excellent. We'll be hearing all about that in file 019. Wait, was it 19? Is that where we're at?
017.
No, 17. Yeah, file 017. We'll be hearing about Billy the Kid.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Ty.
I've been Bailey.
And until next time, question everything.